Are we on?
We are on. Howdy, y'all.
Okay, I got my deadpan on now.
Okay. Dead silence. Serious. This is serious topics today. And today we're going to talk about... We don't know what we're going to talk about.
I don't know what we're talking about. We'd have no idea what we're talking about.
Well, I'm going to say we probably rarely really know what we're talking about. And tens of people watch us, so we're spreading it as fast as our ignorance can possibly go.
At the very least, it comes from the heart. Or somewhere kind of near there.
Sort of. Somewhere coming. Did you peruse any of the first two episodes that I posted?
Yeah. Of us, you mean?
Did you? Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
of
yeah.
us. Yes, of course.
Yeah,
of us.
I watched them all.
Why would you watch anything else?
I don't miss a single episode. I'm hooked.
That's second. Yeah. That second episode is a little cringe. Self-reflection is cringe. And I've agreed to do it online so everybody else can watch me cringe. And later on I can just, at 3 o'clock in the morning, blush and start sweating, remembering that I recorded myself talking about my past, my insecurities, and deficits. So yay.
Cringe is the new success.
I'm trying to, like I've been saying, hug my cringe, but man, I'm
hug it.
It's an adventure, but it's 2023. It's the end of 2023. It's the end of the year. 2023 has been interesting times. So might as well catalog some more of it. And
it's a veritable roller coaster of emotion.
Man. On an interesting note, a happy note.
Oh, shoot, some happy.
This week, I have been almost happy.
What?
I've worked out every day. I took
Holy crap.
a selfie with my shirt off. I didn't post it anywhere. It's going to stay on my camera. I had just eaten a sandwich and was working out, so I was just a little fluffy. But generally, I think I'm moving forward. Dad has gotten a little worse as he is going to. I've gotten better. I don't know if you experienced the rains, the December rainstorms and windstorm of the last couple days.
Quite a tropical depression.
Yeah, I don't know if I told you, if I had talked about it, we had some leaks in the roof at the center.
Right. Oh no, yeah, that's not good.
And we had a roofer come out and assured us he knew exactly what the problem was. He resurfaced everything, guarantees it for 20 years, and it leaks worse now than it did before.
Shit.
So that was like 10 grand for a resurfacing of a quarter of the building's roof, and the leaking got worse, and we've been down a room, and so I've been at the center back and forth in between taking care of Dad, putting buckets down, running the dehumidifier, trying to make sure that as little water hits the carpet as possible as to not mold. Right. The upside was I got to see a bunch of therapists and talk with them for a while. I still had my mask on, and it was a little stressful, but I hadn't seen a lot of them in like almost a year. So
So
that was
social
nice
time.
to see some of the. Yeah, a little bit of social time. So I think that was a little uplifting. But I also enjoyed the social time. So I think some of my depression has lifted a little bit as I'm moving forward. So maybe there's some light at the end of the tunnel.
I should say so.
So yay me. Yeah. Things are moving forward. It had to happen. It had to happen.
It was probably those Hans Rosling
Did you get a chance to? Yes. I only watched a little bit of that one. I had watched Hans Rosling.
I know.
I had that particular video memorized. The bubble video with where he's directing it. Yeah.
Yeah. When I did Pick Me Up, I watched Hans Rosling.
That's a good pick me up. He is gone now, isn't he? He's passed.
Yes.
He passed away. Yeah, that's what I thought. His son, I remember watching a couple of his son's videos, and he tried, but he wasn't Hans.
He's Hans' son, not Hans.
Oh wow.
That's just how that is.
Yes, Hans' son. He's Hanson. Did you see any of the David Shapiro video?
Yeah.
Where he's talking about that is I felt, and I enjoyed being the freak talking about the future and how fast everything was coming. But then hearing David Shapiro talk about it, it's like the next 5 years, most jobs will be, and I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess I'm not extreme enough on a regular basis.
We'll have to hope that is the.
Who knew? I thought I was.
To post scarcity, I mean.
The AI taking over and taking all of our jobs?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, as I've said in some past videos that I've done, AI is not going to affect my business really at all, except people not getting paid. I need programmers. I need the nerd community to stay working and keep bent over a computer screen so my therapists can fix them and get paid to do that. But other than that, until the robotics catch up with the human hand, I think massage therapy is one of the things that is going to be around for, at least as a business, for a little bit, at least 5 years. There's a lot of people that are going to be scrambling. Yeah, you do have a lag, by the way. I don't know if you hit that. Yeah, see, it takes about a second for your voice to kick in.
Right, I know. I didn't hit the echo cancellation last week. I didn't hit it this week again. So this is the same setup, and it probably has a lot more to do with my just available bandwidth.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good enough. So if I just nod blankly and staring at you and you just said a word, it's because I probably didn't hear you.
That's okay. Also, what I've noticed about Riverside, which is awesome, is that it keeps a synchronization without the lag. So when it puts the videos together after we've recorded, boop, it generally puts my...
Right. It's spot on.
Yeah, it puts my stuff up a little bit tighter with yours. But for anybody listening, that's going to be why there's a little positive recycling.
Ha ha! And I toyed with, I don't know if you know, I toyed with a little of the editing, trying to edit out some of the swear words. Mixed results.
Yeah.
It was, I guess, good enough to keep us from getting totally buried under the algorithm, but it's still, yeah. Trying to figure out what other update there is. Working out, eating food. Nope.
Oh, good. Let's get into
I
some
think
meat.
at this point, some meat.
Yeah, some meat. I don't know what. Do you wanna try to discuss something political? I just cracked myself up and I swore I was never going to laugh into the microphone. I suck.
Yeah. Politics. Politics, man. Politics. I don't want to talk about politics. It's a shit show.
Let me ask you this
You
question.
either know you're right.
When
Go ahead.
was the last time you,
Shoot
when
it
was
to
the
me.
last time you ate? When was the last time you ate? When did you eat last? Was it lunch?
About
Snack?
yeah,
How
a
empty is your
sandwich. I
stomach?
had another sandwich.
How empty is your stomach right now?
Oh, I'm a little bloaty. I just had some Ruffles. I was just playing No Man's Sky with Cheesy Ritz and Arbiter. So
Oh,
and I was also thinking, you do. Cheesy Ritz is Nicole.
Okay.
Arbiter is a friend of hers. And yeah, so I was, one of the things I was thinking about is Technoblix, might talk to Musical Zeus about playing No Man's Sky with Cheesy Ritz and Arbiter. And I'm thinking, man, 2023 gamer speak is, with the call signs, is very Cyberpunk 2077, very, very gamey.
We've come a long way from CBs.
I feel like the future. Yeah, I feel like I'm in Hackers.
Oh, yeah.
Original movie Hackers. Yeah.
That was the halcyon days right there.
It's been a while since I've seen that.
Angelina Jolie at her nubile finest.
Yeah. She was always so weird.
The reason I'm asking about when the last time you ate is this. It struck me the other day as I was filling up at a Chinese buffet. And I'm going, like you do at a Chinese buffet. I usually start off with salads so that I can, not completely fill up on a bunch of shit. Something up with your camera there? It's all right.
Yeah, it was crooked. I'm uncrookifying it.
Oh yeah, mine is too. I should do that same thing. So I'm filling up, and you're bloated and full, and you're GI as hell. And then they bring out the fortune cookies, and it's wafer thin, and you read your fortune.
Wafer thin.
And it's some little tidbit of wisdom that is just fantastic. And I'm thinking, okay, well, this little tidbit of wisdom is good, and it might even work if I was just, God forbid, just say for instance, a Holocaust victim during the Holocaust in one of the camps. Might even be that good of a fortune cookie. But it struck me in that moment, you've got the age-old concept of full stomach philosophy. And full stomach philosophy can't be real philosophy. It's not the kind of philosophy that you're going to have when you're empty stomach philosophy, because when you're empty stomach, all you can think about is
Food.
trying to fill your stomach.
Right. Yeah, maybe that's why I'm mellow right now. I'm stuffed.
Yeah, and that's what makes empty stomach philosophy more real than stuffed stomach philosophy, full stomach philosophy. Because if your stomach is full, you might say something that sounds really good and sounds super awesome in context, but would never, ever mean anything to a Holocaust victim. And the best philosophy, the best self-help kind of thinking, the stuff that's going to help you really get yourself next level into a new situation, it's going to be the stuff that can be used absolutely by a Holocaust victim. That's first principles. Does it help a Holocaust victim? Yes. Good. Then that's a good philosophy. Does it matter to a Holocaust victim? No. Probably some crap philosophy. So, the epiphany for the week.
Measure everything by the Holocaust victims' perception. Somehow I don't think that's going to fly very far, but okay. If you need a meter to start with, I guess that is the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs that you're starting with, and it is a good start. It's slightly more desperate than home math.
Well, for home math, I mean, I gotta give credit where credit's due. That is stuff that is, well, it might not be necessarily empty stomach philosophy, because clearly you're not going to really be able to do some complicated, theory and math, literal math, and even back of the envelope math real easily if your stomach is empty. When you do get to that next level, that helps you go a little ways. That does. A+ to home math, I say.
Yes, I like it. So, Holocaust, home math, politics. I had a slight thought. We've argued capitalism.
Yes.
You've said this is the way it is, and I say I don't like it. With AI coming in,
the game changer.
Oh, yeah. Capitalism a crash. That wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking home math. And the wrong for the right, or right for the wrong reasons. That was where I was going.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
I knew I had a thought. I was working on it.
Yeah.
I was
into the station. Go for it.
Yes. I was watching more, since I've been watching home math, some other stuff comes up in my feed. And
have you by any slight chance had redonkulous.com come up in your feed?
No.
I suppose it's only a matter of time. He's apparently I don't mean to go off topic here, but because of all this MOA stuff and the home math, I've now got redonkulous.com coming up my feed. His name is something pop. Anyway, he's our age roughly, ex-military, retired, and fought. He's a vet, and he's pretty pro-America, but his whole mission essentially is to try to help his fellow manosphere men to not kill themselves, because he feels like suicide amongst the men, especially vets, is kind of getting a little out of control, and he's had to bury some of his buddies who turned in their meat suit, and so his whole mission is to use comedy, which is pretty funny, to talk about basically the same stuff that home math talks about, and the MOA, whatever is the MOA, I can't remember.
MOA podcast.
I'm inhibited to try to remember what that is.
MOA? I have no idea.
MOA inhibitors.
Yeah.
Damn it. I know.
It gets dry. It's pretty dry.
I'll show myself out. So anyway, I'm sure it's only a matter of time before he'll pop up in your feed, and you'll watch one of his things, and they're pretty funny.
I'm surprised it hasn't, because I've been doing a lot of home math searches, manosphere searches, a lot of gun searches, because I'm looking for a concealed carry. So, man, if it's got an American flag or a bald eagle or says patriot or don't be a pussy or anything manly or pickup trucks, man, it's in my feed, and it's... I'm awash in sleeve wearing patriotist, macho, overdose testosterone, peacocking.
I'm right there with you.
It's gross. It really is gross.
I'm right there with you.
I don't like it. It's silly.
Well, and none of these guys has really a good.
If I was ever,
they're going to talk about transgender stuff, and they're going to talk about all the gender stuff, and they're going to be clearly they're totally weirded out by it. I understand that. I get that, but they've got it all wrong, and so I would love the chance. Yeah, I'd love the chance to talk to them, and explain it better to them, so that then they would understand, and with any luck at all, you know. It's one thing to joke about it, and if you got to joke about it, then okay, fine, you can make it funny. Go ahead, make a funny joke about the transgenders. But you know, I'm not over here just going, oh yeah, you got a real zinger there with that one. Way to go. That one was funny. But a lot of the stuff is funny.
Yeah.
It's just when they get into there, it cuts close to the bone. I'm like going, oh, okay, come on. But I could set them all straight. Anyway, you were carrying on about how daft they were. Go ahead. I didn't mean to steal focus. Or maybe I did.
No. Please. I have done enough talking over the last 9 episodes that I feel fairly damn exposed at this point. So you doing as much talking as possible would be awesome.
Well, actually, I'm there with you on that.
But that does dovetail.
I feel quite naked in front of our tens of people as well.
Your coming out video, by the way, is up over 100 views. It's not millions, but it keeps climbing.
It's gonna go viral in the other direction.
I also did that video. It was like I think the shorter videos and clips do better because modern attention span. I'll figure it out as soon as I have more brain power to put towards editing and doing something serious with this. I'll get on it, but I haven't yet.
You got more cringe to hug.
But talking about, I've got plenty of cringe to hug. I'm at the moment just kind of chewing on it. I also just spent an hour and a half mining uranium and carbon and playing No Man's Sky and chatting with Nicole or Cheesy Ritz and Arbiter. So I've been talking. I talk a lot. I didn't realize how much I talk until I started doing these videos. I used to think, oh, I just do a video and I'll talk, but no. Man, I start to feel sorry for all the clients that I just blabbered all through the massage. Because I do. I blabber. I was watching a clip from MOA Productions that came up, and he was saying that not complaining, but observing that what did he say? It was incredible how far the Overton window has shifted to the left. And I went, what?
You thought it shifted to the right.
So you wanted to do... It has shifted to the right. Yes. Now, what he's talking about, politically, we've shifted to the right. We're going full-blown dictator, fascist. You listen to Trump, and he says, I want to be dictator only for a day. Okay, buddy, whatever.
But Trump's not the president.
And the whole MAGA...
For the last 3 years...
No, that's his platform.
Somebody else.
Right, that's the platform.
The platform?
Right, but it doesn't matter if the Republican Party is run by Trump. The Republican Party walks in Trump's footsteps.
So do you feel like
I don't like it. I would rather not.
Attention then? If the Overton window is shifting to the right, does that mean that the Republican Party's got more attention than the Democratic Party? Or is that what you think? I'm trying to figure out where you see the Overton window shifting to the right. Is it because everybody's focused on Trump?
No, because of
Okay,
policies.
Carry on with the policy, but now Biden's been in charge of the policies for the last 3 years, more or less.
Yes.
More
Well,
or less in charge
if
is what I
Biden
meant,
was a
actually.
lefty, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Oh,
Biden
okay. So you see
is
Biden as
right
right-wing
wing.
as well.
I do. Not right wing MAGA, of course, because that's
course.
the far end. I see
Well,
Biden as corporate conservative, right wing, tiny bit centrist. He's doing some centrist stuff. Bernie Sanders, according to the rest of the world, by the rest of the world's measure, Bernie Sanders is the centrist. His policies align with Europe and the European Union. So Bernie Sanders is a centrist.
I don't know that I necessarily.
So everyone
agree with
else, I didn't think that you would.
I see Bernie as a little bit more lefty than even the Eurodian. But let me just ask you a real quick question with regards to policy, because this is actually a big one and it's very controversial. Let's set the Wayback Machine for 4 years, okay? And let's just imagine that it's still 2019, and we're maybe even pre-pandemic, and Trump is at the height of his thing because he was really at the height of his glory before the pandemic, and it was the pandemic that kind of ran him into the skidder. But at that time, if we were to have a conversation about the southern border, right? If somebody was a really, I don't want to say a hardcore lefty, let's just say somebody was left wing, and their thought was that we should have an open border, because that is more. I mean, well, let me start by this one question: do you consider open borders more of a left wing policy or a right wing policy, or centrist, or where does that fall on the left right spectrum? Open borders.
Okay. I'll just clarify. Do you think I'm a lefty?
No, I think you're out.
Would you? Do you think I represent the left wing?
I don't think you're left.
Yeah. I think I probably more left than most.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know anyone that wants open borders. No one.
Okay.
As far left as you want to go, I've never heard anybody. I've heard them say in response open borders as a conversation, but they were talking about something else. An open border is more of a allowing more people through the checkpoint. So when I hear the right saying that the left just wants open borders and letting them all through and willy-nilly, I've never heard anyone on the left say that. Okay. Nobody's building freeways without a border patrol or kiosks to check in. There's no open borders. Nobody's talking about that.
I got to put in a real quick. Remember all those videos you watch about stupid Republicans who talk about how Donald Trump is still president, and they talk really crazy QAnon conspiracy craziness? All those videos that I don't watch?
Yeah, QAnon, yeah.
I have seen probably the same extreme
don't watch
video
them.
on
They're
the other
scary.
side. Yeah, I don't. I've seen the other extreme of videos on the other side of people who profess to be liberal or left wing who do talk about open borders and thinking that it's a good thing. Just to let you know. So there is talk of it. There is people that believe in it. But my question to you is, where do you feel like that policy, that particular policy, falls on the spectrum? Is it centrist, left, or right? Open borders, left, centrist, or right?
It would be a conservative. It would be right.
You think
closed
it's right?
borders is right. Open borders would be a little more left.
Left.
Open borders would be more left.
So,
but nobody's talking about that.
Now, hang on a sec. I'm going to quote Joe Biden now.
I disagree that they're talking about it.
I'm going to quote Joe Biden during the campaign. Here's the 2020 campaign. I think we should surge the border. And basically, he was talking. I'm paraphrasing. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said quote. I'm paraphrasing. We should have a surge of the border. We should surge the border. He's talking in regards to the context of people who are below the border saying that they should now come to America. Now, if we were going to talk just straight up policy, that was his stance on the policy. And his first day in office, he undid a bunch of executive orders that Trump had put in place to stop border crossing in any kind of large way. There's also been countermeasures to border crossings that Texas and Arizona have put into place. The rail cars, an impromptu wall, the barricades in the middle of the Rio Grande River to prevent people from trying to cross or swim across. And he has used, I'm talking about Joe Biden, has used executive federal powers to undo those countermeasures. I would say that by his behaviors alone, whether it's stated
because they were killing people.
Right.
Because they're killing people.
Maybe they're killing people, but they're killing. What's killing people is that they're coming here expecting to get in. That's what's killing people, and they need to not do that. They need to not come to that border expecting to be able to cross it.
Why?
Because well,
when you go to Canada to the border, do you expect to cross it? When you want to go to Canada, do you expect to be able to cross it?
I do expect to be able to cross it, but there's a big however. However, in the crossing...
Okay, so why wouldn't people from Mexico just expect to be able to cross? Well, now, the other caveat is, are you grabbing all your stuff in a backpack and hiking through the woods to cross the Canadian border?
I'm not doing that. When I cross the Canadian border...
You are not. Okay. Why are you not doing that?
Well,
right.
Because
why are you not getting...
I know that I'm not going to be staying there permanently. If I go to Canada, it's to visit, take care of business, or see the falls, whatever, and then come back home. And I expect to be questioned about...
That is not why you don't.
Border.
Right,
okay,
right. You expect to go through the checkpoint, register, and go on about your business.
Okay.
Right?
More or less.
So an open border, as far as I understand it, on the left, where I'm sitting, to me, an open border means the exact same thing that you're able to do in Canada, people from Mexico are able to do here. If they were able to go to the border and go, this is me, I am registered, thanks, and write it down, they would not be putting their kids on their back, hiking through the desert and dying and coming over that way. They would go through the roads, they would walk up to the checkpoint and say, I'm going to go to work. And America at the border should go, that's awesome. We need workers because we're fucking out of them and none of these pansy white people want to go into the fields and pick the stuff, so get to work. But the closed border means no, they're all criminals. We need to restrict as much as we can people coming across through the border check. And so that's causing people to go the hard way. And that's the problem. The problem isn't the open border. There's no open border. The problem is the closed border not letting people through the checkpoints.
Okay, now here's the caveat to that, though. When I crossed the border just about 3 months ago, going into Canada to do work, my actual stop there at the border took, I want to say 10 minutes, just for me, just at my point, where I was rolling down the window, talking to the guy, and there was a queue of cars, probably a dozen long, so my actual border crossing took close to an hour, maybe just a little bit longer. Yeah. At the point that I reached that, go into that queue, there was that wait. Now, if we've got a situation where it's not a dozen cars, but 500,000 people, that 5 to 10 minute period of time to cross the border is unacceptable to most. They would expire waiting in line for that. So that's their incentive to go, I'm going to not go through the line. I'm going to cut through the line. I'm going to go directly to some place in the border where I can now just cross. Because, and there's something else.
I'm going to call bullshit.
I wouldn't. When I go to Canada, I do not expect to go up to Canada and make use of their medical system, which is socialized. I don't expect to do that. I wouldn't be able to do that because I'm an American. I can't.
Americans go up to Canada and buy drugs up there all the time.
Well, if
there are retirement homes busing people up there, elderly people, to get their drugs.
Okay, but
And
okay, so
Canada
that's
loves
the
it
drugs.
because they sell drugs to Americans.
Right. But they're selling the drugs. But for the rest of the socialized medicine up there, that is supposedly or apparently free or whatever it is that you're supposed to be able to go into the hospital and get your treatment free, however that works, because I don't know.
It
That's
doesn't
not
work
something
like that, but
yeah, I can't expect to make use of that. However, for people that are coming up to America south of the border, they are absolutely expecting to be able to make use of our non-socialized medical care because they're just go into the emergency room and do what they like to
those
do.
sons of bitches, those sons of bitches thinking they can come up here and use medical services.
Well,
It's a good thing Americans don't go to Mexico. It's a good thing Americans don't go to Mexico and use their medical services, God damn it, because that would just be hypocritical, right?
Except for that when we do it, we pay. We pay. Nobody's
Good.
expecting
Get them
to
up
go-
here. Get a job. We should pay them too.
Just
Awesome.
Get them up. Get who up where?
Get
who
people
up
from
where?
Mexico across the border up here working.
Oh, to get them working.
Mexicans into America and working so they can get to the hospitals and help pay taxes.
I suppose. I don't know that they're. I mean, I feel like. I mean, I'm not suggesting that they would want to come up here and.
That Mexicans are sending their murderers and rapists. They're not. They're sending their best, right? Is that what you're...
Even so, let's assume that they were really sending up their workers and blah, 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 blah. Let's imagine that a bunch of those workers ended up in...
They aren't sending anyone.
Oh, well, true. Let's imagine that there's
They
a
aren't
bunch of people...
sending anyone.
I got you. You're right. You are correct about that. So a bunch of Mexicans are incentivized to come to America for the higher wages. And let's say they are, used to working for whatever they work for. I don't know what it is, but I would imagine it's dramatically below minimum wage. And they end up in a state like, just say, for instance, New York or New Jersey. And let's say the construction is their trade. And let's just say, for instance, I'm just spitballing here, that there's a construction workers strike going on in New Jersey or in New York, as there would be. And these guys from Mexico who aren't used to even making minimum wage, let alone $35 an hour, are going, I'll just cross that line. Is that okay with you? They will destroy the union. If you're cool with that, which I am, then bring them on. Make sense?
That does get to another problem. Yeah, because
What
if
is
they're up
that?
in New
What's the
York,
problem?
they're not doing construction. What are they doing in New York?
Why wouldn't they be
I've been
doing
there.
construction? If they was
I'm aware. Because they're making wine. They're picking grapes. The wineries are up there.
Some of them will be
They're picking
working
berries.
as farmhands. Sure. Some will be working as farmhands. But not
Yeah.
everybody comes across the border with low skills or no skills. Some of them have got trade skills.
Great. So
Are they okay with crossing?
they're illegal, right?
Yeah. Are you okay with them
See,
crossing?
they're
the state
illegal
line?
at this point, right?
They would
They're
probably be
illegal, right?
necessarily, if they're willing to work
Okay.
for less.
So no. If they're illegal and the company hires them to do the work, whose fault is it?
Well, let's say the company's willing to pay a minimum wage.
Is it
Way below
not-
the union scale?
Is it not already illegal to hire illegal immigrants?
It
If
is
American
technically illegal.
companies were following the law, if the American companies were not breaking the law, they would not hire them and they would not come here because they couldn't get hired. So what frustrates me to no end is Americans, right-wingers, are so quick to blame the worker for fucking everything when it's the corporations hiring them and that's why they're coming. A fly doesn't go to an empty field. A fly is attracted to the smell of shit. The American corporations hiring illegal aliens is the stink that they're attracted to. I know it's a bad analogy, but But if there wasn't a draw, they wouldn't be coming here.
I totally get that. There's
so you can blame the workers, you can blame the Mexicans all you want, but if the corporations weren't breaking the fucking law, we wouldn't have that problem. So do you want to blame the Mexican or do you want to blame the corporation?
Let's imagine for a second that there was no restriction on hiring anybody for any amount that you want, right? That you can just work without a green card or a visa. It doesn't matter. You can just anybody who's willing to hire somebody who's willing to work, and there's no restriction, no regulation. With me so far? Now, if we're in a situation where
I'm just having trouble imagining that, but okay.
Why would you have trouble imagining that? That's pretty highly libertarian, frankly. If you've got a situation
because it's America, and we've never had that policy.
We never not had a minimum wage. I promise you that there was a period of time where there was no minimum wage.
That's
minimum wage is a fairly young thing,
there was. Yeah, I mean they're almost as new as the end of slavery. Weird.
So if they come up here because they know they're going to be able to get a higher wage, just because of whatever better economy
or any
economic or any economy, yeah, and they just come across it and they get a job. We're talking about a supply and demand issue. If you've got a bunch of people there ready to work, the cost of labor is going to go down, and that's the law of supply and demand. And it doesn't really matter about regulations. Regulations are what they are, and if you wanted to try to be the policeman that goes out there and nab every dang corporation or every dang farmer that wants to pay their farm help under the table, good luck with that. It's just remember that for every farmer that is willing to pay for farm help under the table, they're also probably jacking up the profits of Monsanto's, and I know you don't like those guys. So my guess is that with a farmer who's caught between cheap labor and whether or not they're going to hire somebody regulated or unregulated, legally, and they're dealing with it's not technically IP, but it's some kind of licensed technology from a seed company like Monsanto. If they're caught between that, if a farmer's willing to hire, irregulated help, they're probably willing to work with illegal seed. Ooh. So those kind of farmers would be your corporate heroes.
Yeah, so it's a little.
They're bucking the freaking system. Or those farmers could be playing it totally by the book, and playing total ball with Monsanto, and making sure that they only hire people at minimum wage, and all legally and took completely green carded up, and a super enormous population of immigrant workers are going to have to go elsewhere to find the work, and they may or may not find that in the U.S., or they may have to go to the black market for their work.
The Monsanto thing. Do you know why I don't like Why I don't like Monsanto?
Well, I think I've got some idea.
The same reason you do like them.
I don't like them.
They're using their intellectual property to make profit.
Yeah, I wasn't
the American way. You love your intellectual property, right? You think people should own the rights to their ideas and their effort in scientific discovery, right? So then Monsanto is right in line with how you think capitalism works best. They put in the effort. They have license for the intellectual property of the seeds they designed because they did bioengineering and designed the seeds for the purpose of being more hardy and producing more yield. And then they use all their power of the law and their respective rights of property to make sure nobody else uses that technology because they
Right.
own it, right?
They
So
also
far, I've not said anything that you don't. Right. So far, I've not said anything that you don't totally agree with and are in line with. And then they lobby politicians, like every other corporate entity in the world, to bribe them to make laws more strict. Capitalism 101, baby. But you
not capitalism.
are good with it. Capitalism. It's profit.
I'm okay with capitalism right up to the point that they start affecting public policy. And the public policy is where they get the loopholes, the legal loopholes.
Corporations are people too, my friend, right?
I never said that.
Corporations are people too, my friend. That's the Republicans. Republicans passed that. So
corporations are artificial people. That's the law of the land. They're artificial people.
No. The law of the land. The law. What's the bill?
I'm talking about Uniform Commercial Code. I'm talking about old law. Corporations are artificial people. They get their life from this.
We don't live there. We don't live there. You're arguing about something that doesn't exist. One of my frustrations with a lot of the political arguments is the same with people saying socialist and communist. They're arguing for things that haven't existed for 100 years and will never exist.
Maybe not, but
1945 socialism, 1945 communism is never going to exist. 1945 capitalism is never going to exist. We don't live there. That's a fantasy. It's a dark fantasy. It's trying to make America great again when it wasn't in the first place. It will never happen again.
Maybe not.
In fact, in the next 5 years, it's going to be totally different. You think anybody's going to have intellectual property rights? AI is going to walk all over it. So all of this is kind of a moot point because all of this is changing just as in the past it's changing. None of that old school 1945 business exists anymore. So when you're saying, oh, imagine a world where there's no regulation and anybody can work anywhere they want to, for as an example, where are you talking about today? I mean, we can go back to biblical times and I got, oh, well, God described how to beat your slaves efficiently so you don't get in trouble. Let's use that as an example to argue for using slave labor. It's not real. It's not today. Monsanto is playing by the rules of capitalism and democracy and freedom. All the things that Americans have been convinced they want, they're doing. But it's bad. Right? It's bad for the people.
Well, the people probably would be better
Oh, well.
by their product, yeah.
Okay, don't buy food. Because the other problem with capitalism is monopoly.
There is food to purchase.
Right?
And if everybody really was one of the problems is obviously that we want to get food as cheaply as possible. And the second that you start putting that kind of demand on a farmer's market, the price for that farmer's market food would go very, very high and very, very fast. And you'll always be able to get the cheapest food, especially when it's being subsidized, from a Monsanto lackey farmer, or a Monsanto lackey source, whether that's the farmer, producer, or distributor, who cares what. Somebody play involved with that.
And government. They get government subsidies, just like oil.
Exactly.
Just like other giant corporations. They get giant tax cuts so they don't have to pay their fair share and do the infrastructure stuff. They get corporate
I would love for that to
political
stop.
bribes.
Who put that public policy into place? Let's string them up. That needs to go. All of it. The subsidy public policies, the public policy that allows for subsidies needs to go. The public policy that allows for the kind of restriction on the use of seeds that Monsanto has by virtue of whatever kind of patent law that they've
they have the rights to that.
Needs to go.
They have patent.
Right. What they've done is they've made it so that now you can't even use the natural seed, the un the un
No, they haven't.
GMO seed.
No, they haven't.
Well,
No, they haven't. They haven't.
I think that was in Food Inc.
I followed this pretty closely.
Yeah. Well,
No,
fill me in.
I don't think I've seen Food Inc. I haven't
I
seen
thought
Food
you-
Inc. The
I thought
problem
you told
is
me about Food
when
Inc.
the seeds.
I thought it
No,
was when you were the one that told me
I
about it.
was.
It's an older documentary. It's probably 15, 20 years.
No, I was the climate change guy. I was telling about climate and the garbage warrior and things like that.
Ah.
I mean, I might have mentioned Food Inc. I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure I talked about it, but I haven't seen it.
It just goes into detail about Monsanto.
But it's when they.
Their crooked operation.
Sure.
Yeah.
And pick a corporation, and it's going to be the same. Pick the automotive industry, any industry.
All want to manipulate public policy so it favors their business model. The business model
which is how you get the true right wing Overton window going towards conservative right by policy designed by corporations, and then you get politicians that want to get in on those bribes, and that's all of them except maybe the extreme left and maybe the extreme right.
You may have a point, Gilbert.
So, the laws are made by corporations now and have been for a while. Why do you think there's so many homeless people? Why do you think everybody's struggling so much? The economy, GDP, the market is doing fucking fantastic. It's higher than it's ever been in the history of the market and just going up. It does have occasional dips and crashes, as it does about every 8 years, and then it goes up even higher, and they print even more money, and it goes up even higher. So the economy is totally detached from human welfare. If corporations are doing great, and millions of people are homeless, guess the economy is doing well, right?
So what is the metric for human welfare?
No, the economy has nothing to do with people.
What's the metric for human welfare?
Wouldn't that be nice if we had nothing that pays money, nothing you can profit? Happiness? I mean, other countries have it. Sweden has it.
Yeah.
There are the happiness indexes and things like that. Not here. We don't use that here. What we have here is the politicians. If Trump is in office, they say Trump did it. If Biden is in office, they say Biden did it. But the market's doing great. So everything's being turned around. People are doing well. We're making money and moving forward. If Trump is doing it, it's the right-wing MAGA people are super happy with being poor. And when Biden is, say Biden is doing it, then the left-wing centrist corporatists are happy because whoever they like is making money. And the rest of us eat sawdust, I guess.
We're coming back to your game
My
is rigged
answer,
argument.
sadly, and not that it matters, nothing's going to, our arguing, our discussion, I get annoyed mostly because I know nothing can be done about it.
It's not about doing something.
America has totally chosen its direction.
Yeah, I would say it's not about doing something about it. It's about coming up with the strategy or possibly the countermeasure to navigate it, to come out on the other side of it. But let me just pop in here with something real quick. Nice shirt. That is a very notable shirt. And here's what I'm going to suggest we do.
Thank you.
Let's pinch this episode off right here and call it a great episode and prepare it for upload. I'm going to run and empty my squirrel bladder, and then we can start on a continuation of this episode, and everybody will know that it's a continuation because You're wearing the same shirt. Unless you change your shirt, in which case I'll be wearing the same shirt.
Okay.
Hit the button, and I'm going to make a run, and I'll be back. Send me a link.
A short interlude.